Welcome to the Degenerate Dylan Podcast, where Dylan has you covered with everything from spreads to futures to prop bets. Follow him every weekday as we pick daily best bets using stats, analytics, and a little bit of luck. Now here's your host, Degenerate Dylan himself, Dylan Nelson.
Hey everybody, welcome into another episode of the Degenerate Dylan Podcast. We have Pamela Maldonado of OddsShark with us. How you doing, Pamela?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Good. Looking forward to some Masters week this week. I know you're probably excited.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2020 Masters was during football, and I definitely put all of my attention into football. So I wasn't really into the 2020 Masters. So I feel like I'm getting a redo here.
Yeah, absolutely ready for all the colorful flowers that we necessarily didn't get to see in November. It was nice and fall-like, but it's not what we've been used to. So first segment we'll get into, we'll have a little fun first. We'll get Pamela's dream ideal groupings. Do you have some people that you'd like to see play together?
Yes. So I had to do some thinking about this because I don't know if you're aware, but I've been playing golf my entire life, but I have only been betting golf since the pandemic started. It was like there was nothing else. Everyone else had like KBO baseball, and I was like, well, what am I gonna do? I was like, well, I guess I'll do golf. So I'm seeing these players not from having relationships with them for like the past 5 years. They're all very fresh and new. So one of the players that I've definitely gravitated towards was Will Zalatoris. I love his game. I just love his story, and he's kind of crushing life right now. So I would put in my ideal grouping, I would put Will Zalatoris, who is definitely a long hitter. And then I would put Brooks Koepka because I am still a woman and he's good to look at. and then I would do Hideki Matsuyama just because he's a wild card. You kind of really don't know what you're going to expect from him. You can go 10 under or 10 over. So it's kind of, you got to have one of those wild guys on the side.
Yeah, and that was one of the prop bets, not to get too far into that, get too far ahead, but I like the top Asian bet between him and Sungjae M, because Sungjae M was so good in November, kind of chasing that. Everybody was chasing Dustin Johnson, but he was kind of one of those that was, right up against him. But I would say my ideal groupings would probably be DJ, Bryson, and McIlroy, just to see who would have the farthest drive of the day. I think that would be really entertaining to watch.
Wouldn't Bryson be the lock? If he can hit it straight and not lose it and get confused by ants or whatever else is out there, then you got to think that it would be Bry.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Spieth Thomas and Patrick Reed, I would like to see them play. I know just mainly because Spieth and Justin Thomas are, really good buddies, and they seem to get along with Patrick Reed just fine. So that'd be kind of fun to watch too. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I like Reed. That's an interesting group because you have, the guys who are good around the green and putting the short game. And so it's kind of like, who's going to come out on the top. And it doesn't just hit the ball straight, get it in the fairway, and then let's see who can crush the greens.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know Patrick Reed is very good on the greens too.
Mm-hmm.
Give me someone who has never won the green jacket that you would really enjoy seeing that green jacket.
I do know that you told me that you were on the Brooks Koepka train, and I definitely am too. He hasn't played since WGC Workday in late February because, of course, we know that he had surgery on his knee. I think it was the other knee that he previously had surgery on from mid-March. So he did say that he suffered a kneecap dislocation and ligament damage. That just doesn't sound good, but he has made his way over to Augusta. He was playing really well prior to getting injured and having his surgery. But if he's at Augusta, he's definitely going to be playing. I think he has the opportunity here. He's just as good as anybody. When he gives a little bit more effort, he's like, today I'm going to try, then that he's going to be a dangerous man. And I definitely would love to see him.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. That's who I had. There's a couple there that I would probably like to see, McIlroy being one of them, just to complete the career Grand Slam. But Brooks, I don't know if you saw on Twitter yesterday, he had a little fun with somebody that wrote an article saying he'd be out 6 to 8 was it months or weeks, but
And I took that personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw that meme. Yeah, and we all knew after that he is reared up and ready to go to be his competitive self.
But if you're comparing the two, him against Rory, I would definitely choose Brooks because I mean, I like I like people with good mindsets. And when you hear Rory interviews, he's just not there mentally. He's struggling. Something up in his brain is keeping him from kind of taking his game to the next level. By all standards, his bad day is anybody's like best day. So like he's definitely always going to be a player that's going to be in contention. But when it comes to having a strong mindset, I like Brooks. He just seems like he's happy go lucky, like take it easy. Like it's not, he's going to, oh, I had a bad shot. I'll take it off. He rolls with the punches and kind of Rory. I feel like he kind of like just like holds on to it a little bit and then you should be able to let it go. And I don't think he does. And he's kind of struggling with his mind right now. And that's why you're seeing him kind of not performing to his peak.
Yeah, we all saw Brooks got engaged over this last weekend, I believe, and he seemed to kneel down just fine for that. So I think he's
Brooks
okay.
gained life. You always have to take that into consideration. And he's high up there. He saw his dog when he was in Florida for the Florida Swing. He saw his dog. He was happy. That was all over social. And then he ended up doing really well. I mean, now he's had surgery. He got engaged. I don't think maybe. Okay, we know he had surgery, but maybe he really also just needed like a little break and like handle that personal life and continue on, and maybe he'll crush.
Well, and he's got enough major wins in his life. He deserves a little bit of time off if he wants it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a few prop bets that you like going into the Masters.
So there's not really too much. I use BetOnline, and those props are kind of really specific to holes. I don't like doing those. I like to keep them a little bit more general, a little bit more broad. But there was one that I did like is 54 round later to win. I think there is value on no at plus 100. And the reason I say that is because since 2011, third round leaders have gone on to win. So that means 10 haven't. There's a little bit of value there. This could definitely go. I think this is definitely more of like a 50-50 bet. And so like getting plus money on something that could end up happening. Why wouldn't you take plus money odds?
Yeah, that's definitely one I'll be watching too. I like no at even also. I like the top American after 4 rounds. Right now, Spieth's at 33-1 and Morikawa's 22-1. Those are two I like to watch to be the top American after the tournament's over, especially Spieth after this last weekend's Valero Texas Open in your backyard.
Right.
I know you had Spieth. You said before we got on that you took Spieth before the tournament started. How'd you feel about that win?
Every which way, top 20, top 10, top 5 win. And I don't ever take outrights too often or hardly ever, and much less like a favorite because, you know, those are the implied odds that he would win more often than not. But this is just the perfect one for him. It's like you said, in the backyard. He's a Longhorn right there. He's close to home. Weather was good, pretty decent. The field was soft, and he's been playing some of his best golf that he's had in a really long time. So it's just like everything pointed to Spieth, and so how could you say no to that? And so it was really good. It's really good. As a Longhorn myself, it's just really nice to see him bounce back and get back to where he used to be.
Yeah, you said you're a Longhorn. I'm obviously a Razorback. There's not a whole lot of love there. So
we're not connected now.
I don't have it necessarily written down on our page here, but try to think and give me a long shot that you like in this tournament that nobody's really necessarily thinking of that you think has a chance.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say that it's a long shot, but I do like Will Zalatoris. I mentioned him earlier, but I mean, if you're talking about a guy who can hit long off the tee, I think he's top 20 in driving distance. So you're not really going to need that approach shot, but even still, he has really great iron shots. His around the greens and his short game is kind of what hurts him a little bit. But I mean, he's just like I really love how like he's so consistent, and he's consistently shown us that it doesn't matter what course it's at. It doesn't matter if it's his first time playing there on tour. He's a top 20 machine. So, I mean, if you look at both 20 and 2021 stats, he's third in strokes gained on the approach behind Justin Thomas and Colin Morikawa. And I think you're trying to always get ahead of when a player is going to like break out and go on a heater. And I think the time is coming for Willie Z. Like I said, he's in the top 20 every tournament, and it's not out of the realm of possibilities that he could definitely make a run on his Masters debut. We did just see Sungjae. You mentioned him earlier. He took second, tied for second in November, and that was his first time at the Masters. So, I mean, his ball striking is definitely there. If he can just wake up with a hot putter, even if just for one day, like, I mean, he's definitely going to put himself in contention. And then he did take sixth at the US Open. So, I mean, in two different courses, obviously, but I mean, the field is going to be the same. He's played 13 events. He has 10 of those have been in the top 25 and 5 have been in the top 10. So he did take a week off by not playing Valero. I mean, hey, let's kind of get in there, bud.
Yeah. And these guys deserve to take weeks off, especially before tournaments like the Masters. It's always nice for these guys that are invited. I believe they are allowed to, if they're invited to the current Masters, they're allowed to come in the week before and play the course, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm sure he was practicing this week at Augusta. A long shot, I like it. And I don't know what Willie Z's numbers are at as far as his
8,000 plus 8,000
plus 8,000. Okay, so I got Matthew Wolff as my long shot at plus 10,000, which is 100-1 odds. I really like Matthew Wolff, and I like the way that he plays courses like Augusta. This is going to be different than last year's Masters, and playing conditions are going to be different. The grass is going to play different. Everything's going to be different than what it was in November. Is Dustin Johnson still a threat to the top players in the world?
I don't think so. I mean, you saw him. He entered. He last second entered the Valero Texas Open, and then he last second withdrew. So that was kind of something. That was like a short-minded reaction to, man, I didn't play well at WGC like I thought I would, or like I wanted to. Let me just like get it out of the way here, and maybe that confrontation that he had with Kevin Na maybe triggered something, a little bit of like negativity there. But I mean, that right there tells you that he wasn't. There's something of his game that he hasn't been liking, that he wanted to tweak, he wanted to fix. And then of course we didn't see him play, so now we're kind of relying that he's fixed whatever he thinks is broken out on the range. And if there's any one player though that can just flip it on at the switch, it's definitely going to be him. But he just hasn't been playing good as of late, and I'm definitely I don't know how to accurately predict that somebody who hasn't been playing is going to play well. I need to see that you have been consistently doing well even in your last 2, 3, 4 tournaments. And Dustin Johnson, he just hasn't been that guy. I mean, he is doing well, obviously. It's Dustin Johnson. But I mean, in a couple tournaments ago, he took 54th, 48th, 28th. He has either lost strokes off the tee, lost strokes off the approach, or around the green, and then putting. Every tournament, it is something. And he just hasn't had like a complete game. And you see it in his totals. Like I said, he took 54th at WGC, he took 48th at Players, 28th at Match Play. So, I mean, something isn't quite in 100% there. I mean, could he obviously win this? Yes. But I think there's a lot of other players who are playing well, who are coming into this with confidence. And so I would be looking to them instead.
And Spieth is one of those guys that's been playing consistently well since the beginning of the year, since really the beginning of the PGA season.
Absolutely.
He's been playing great. Give me some of your favorites. I know Dustin Johnson is the #1 overall favorite currently on Bovada. That could change. I don't see it changing, but that could change. Give me one of your favorites that you like this week to win.
I like Sergio. I think I talk about confidence a lot and having a mental mindset. And I think he's one of those players who is coming into this with a really good mindset. I mean, and his odds have already shifted. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video and his odds are 6,600. Now his odds are below 5,000. So definitely money's coming in on him, but he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And in 4 straight events, his iron shots, his ball striking has just absolutely gone off. And so he's gained 10 strokes ball striking at WGC Workday. His short game is always going to suck. He lost 7 strokes putting, and that's just kind of what his game is, though. Like, I'm going to hit the ball well off the tee. I'm going to hit the ball great with my irons. I'm going to get up on the greens and then just close my eyes and hope for the best. But, I mean, he has won the Masters before, so he's been in this spot. He has experience, but it's kind of like, it comes in waves. And so with Sergio, just like anybody else, right? I think right now, if you can catch him at a high, maybe if you don't want to take him to win, maybe look to him for like a first round leader or something. But I think his odds are great considering that he is a Masters winner and he's playing really well as of late.
Yeah, you could probably find some good odds on him on top 5 and top 10 finishes too. That probably wouldn't be a bad play. I wrote down Spieth just because I like the way that he's been playing. Obviously, we've touched on that a couple times already, how well he's been playing. And I'm such a Bubba Watson homer just because of, the color balls he uses, to him being a lefty, to him crushing the ball and constantly playing a slicer or a draw or a fade. So I always take Bubba. And right now he's 55-1. I don't necessarily think he's going to win. I think he's past his prime and past winning major championships. But it's still fun to me to take Bubba Watson. Give me someone that's entertaining for you to bet on, that you just enjoy watching.
Oh man,
you don't have to give me the odds. Just give me someone that you like.
I was gonna say Hideki. Like, I do enjoy watching him. I like watching these wild cards. I like watching that they can make an 8 on one hole and then they're gonna like hole in one the next. And he's been playing really well as of late too. So if you want to talk about a player who has an opportunity to maybe do top 20, I would be looking to him as well. He's coming into this with a lot of confidence, and so he did well at the match play and at Valero. So I mean, I enjoy watching him.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Hideki too. I like Sanjay M a lot too. I know I've already said his name once, but yeah, I love watching him too.
I think another player that I would consider for like a long shot is Fitzpatrick. His odds right now, looking at his odds, what is his odds? He's plus 5,500. But I mean, if you look at what he's doing lately, like if you think that this course is going to be about off the tee, Fitzpatrick is it. If you talk about a guy who's consistently putting well, Fitzpatrick is it. And if you look at his 4 finishes, he took 5th, 11th, 10th, and 9th. So he's like secretly under the radar of like one of those guys who's just like crushing every week. But because he's not winning, he's not maybe necessarily getting the recognition that he should be getting. And he's kind of lost strokes off the approach. But if this is like a drive wedge type of course, I definitely like him to be one of those guys.
So let me throw one prop at you and you answer just yes or no.
Okay.
Will there be a hole in one?
Sure.
Sure. Okay.
Why would you bet no? I mean, it's kind of like I bet no on hole in one props, and every time I hate it because you're like, why? It's like rooting for a low scoring football game.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to root for something really great to happen to not happen?
Absolutely, I agree with you. So before I let you go, I really appreciate you hopping on with us, by the way. Before I let you go, tonight is the national championship game for college basketball, Gonzaga and Baylor. Give me your pick to win the game and give me your spread play.
I would do Baylor on the spread and the money line. I've read somewhere. Truth be told, I know absolutely nothing about basketball, but I have to do predictions also for OddsShark because we're in a contest. And I've gone. I'm what is it, like 16 and 14 maybe, I believe it is. And all it is that I'm doing is reading trends and seeing things. And one of the trends that I saw was there's been 4 number 2s who have played number 1. The number 2 has not only covered, but they have won all 4 times.
Wow.
So blind bet for me, Baylor. And I'm in Texas. How can I not root for a home state team?
Fair enough. There's some analytics for you guys out there that are betting the game tonight. I'm gonna take the Zags, man. I think they have too much talent down low. If everybody's wondering my opinion, which they're probably not, they're probably respecting your opinion a little bit more than mine. But I would take the Zags. The play on the spread, I'd probably take Baylor too. I think that's a safe bet tonight.
Yeah, I think this could be a really close, tight match. I think it's going to be high scoring game. We could see this go over. I mean, yeah, I like that too.
Well, I said about 20 minutes, and I think I've taken up enough of your time today. I really appreciate you, Pamela, for hopping on with us. You can go ahead and let my guests know exactly what you got going on, podcasts, etc.
Yeah. So you can find me on OddsShark. OddsShark.com is where I write articles for them and previous predictions for football related mostly. They're doing a little bit of Masters, golf stuff, and tennis stuff. But you can find me on Twitter at Pamela M35. And then I also have a podcast, and it is called Stack of Stats.
Love the podcast. Listen to the Texas Valero Open preview you had with that gentleman you had on.
Mm-hmm.
Some very, very nice stuff you got going for you. I really appreciate it, Pamela. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.